What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Bourbon Pour. I'm Jordan.
I'm Brian.
And today we have a bottle that was gifted to me, MB Rollin'. This is the uncut, unfiltered Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey coming out of the MB Rollin' distillery. And it's located in Pembroke, Christian County, Kentucky. So it's kind of in the western part of the state.
Okay.
Sort of over near Green River. There's a cluster of
Okay.
different distilleries over there.
I've never heard of it, actually.
Yeah.
Grain glass, so it must be
Yeah.
a farm operation.
Yeah, Grain to Glass started in 2009. This bottle in particular is 106.6 proof. So they do have a low barrel entry proof because this is cask strength. Mash bill is 78% white corn, 17% rye, and 5% malted barley. They use a new number 4 char barrel. And there is a particular detail that for right now I'm going to leave out. You all know from the thumbnail and from the title, but I've not told Brian about.
See what I'm going to miss.
Yeah, that's right.
Hopefully I get it.
Yeah, and thank you to my sister-in-law and brother-in-law, Dan and Olivia. They picked this bottle up for me. So
yeah, that's awesome.
they were up at Benny's, and they asked the guy, got a brother-in-law who's really into bourbon. We want to take him a gift. What do we get him? And this is what he recommended. And he made a great recommendation, in my opinion. So right out the gate here for me, I get kind of like a hazelnut, pecan-y.
Yeah, I can get a nut. I get a little earthy tones.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a mossy funk, but it's just it's in that earthy tone, kind of wet.
Yeah.
Wet log type smell.
Totally get that. I could see that
hints
for sure.
Hints of like vanilla and
Like a sweeter caramel.
sweeter,
Yeah. Some sweetness to it, and I keep going back to like the different variety of nuts that I smell on this, but kind of like a little bit of like a pecan pie kind of note to it.
And I bet the Char 4
comes through.
Probably pulls that through to where that's going to pull out. So it's definitely dark. And
yes. It's very dark.
How many years was it?
Well, that's one of the information pieces that I need to keep from you.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, let's go in for a sip here, see what we got. So that pecan pie thing that I was talking about comes in. There's like a really bold richness, and the proof, I think it drinks a touch hotter.
Yeah, it comes in hot.
Yeah.
And then it kind of gives you like an oatmeal pie, like with the cream coming out. Like when you take a bite of it, it gives you that cream feel.
Yeah. It's pretty viscous.
And it's really viscous.
Yeah. Really good too.
It is. Good.
We were all really super impressed with this bottle because nobody had heard of it whenever they brought it, and it was our favorite.
So it reminds me a little of the nose. Reminds me a little bit of French Lick. Okay. Kind of a local distillery around here. I'm sure. I don't know if they're regional or not, but they just all. When I always nose theirs, I get that certain earthy tone. But it doesn't translate over into the palate. The nut does, but I don't get the funk,
earthy funk kind of thing.
That's the palate is really good.
Really, really, really good. Dark color, super tasty. It is pot distilled. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, so I don't know how that impacts flavors. Really, I'm sure somebody out there could share with us. But
and that spice, like I said, it kicks in really lively at the beginning, but it stays up front, so it doesn't finish overly hot. When you're done, you probably would think it's in that 105 to 110 category, but when you start, you might guess 120.
And I'd sip the second sip I took it, the proof kind of calmed down, and I got a little bit more of a traditional caramel flavor out of it.
Yeah, it has a little bit of a rye taste to me. I don't know why.
Well, it is higher rye. It's 17%, so it's got some kick to it for sure. That's higher than normal. I would say this would be considered a high rye bourbon. So now the really cool piece of this. You want to guess how old this is?
I'm gonna guess if you're hiding that from me. It's probably on the younger side.
Right.
I'm going to guess it's probably 2 years?
It is 2 years old.
Okay.
This is 2 years old.
I would never have guessed that.
No.
Unless without that lead in.
Right.
When you told me, you couldn't tell me. It's either going to be super old or super young.
Right.
And I'm probably young.
Yeah. It's got a touch of a young nose to it. There's a little bit more grains, like a cornbread kind of thing.
Yeah,
I didn't say that because
it wasn't oaky enough that it would be anything super old.
Right.
But it had some.
Yeah, and so oddly enough, the reason why I had this bottle, this episode in mind for quite a while, just was one of those things. Hadn't gotten around to it yet. But I was on Instagram yesterday at work, and Fred Minnick starts this live video, and I was like, and it said that MB Roland Distillery was going to be going live with him. And I thought, I recognize that name from the bottle, so I'll tune in. And I commented on it, and I said, I just want to know how the heck do you make a 2-year-old bourbon taste so good? And Fred Minnick was like, I agree. I would like to hear that as well. And the master distiller there, the owner, forgive me, I can't remember his name, but he said that you get that when you run it through, you strip all of that when you pot still it out of I think it was the second run or something like that. And he said the low barrel entry proof, but he did say that most of their stuff is no longer the 2-year range. They're moving into the more 4, and they have even older stocks as well.
Double pot stilled, or just ran through multiple times.
Yeah.
Okay,
Strip
that's
through.
interesting. I wonder, I know like Still Austin has some younger stuff, and so does Chattanooga.
Yeah,
they've got the art of that down to come up with some pretty unique flavors too. So. Yeah,
and I think the mash bill kind of lends to a more flavorful. You got the more rye spice. Sometimes that can be a dangerous game though, with younger stuff being hot and everything having that rye. So but overall, I think it was an excellent sip.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, definitely. Do you know how much it?
I think Dan said it was about $50.
Okay, so not bad.
Not bad, especially for a small distillery. Mm-hmm. I would like to go visit them sometime, but they're about a little over 3 hours from us. So they're really kind of stretched over. So maybe I'll get down there soon. But all right, well, thanks again to Dan and Olivia for gifting this to me. It's been a lot of fun tasting bourbons with you guys throughout the year, so appreciate that. So all right, well, we're going to end this episode the same way that we always do, and that is when you're with your family and your friends, always share your whiskey.